Imagine if I just did the entire stream and everything I said was just they victors. It's a clean set stretch. Ugh. To do the posture check, that properly. The back thing is in a good position. Good evening. How are you doing today, people? Hello, Clem. I feel like this preview is pandemonium. Why is not to group me with the people? Yeah, it's pandemonium. I don't think the final game actually looks like that. I'll tell you one thing I do miss about this era of video games, when development would go by so quickly that you'd see trailers of games like maybe a few months before they'd come out and the interface would be completely different. And there was always something kind of cool about that. Nowadays, everything like that's set in stone like 2 years before a game comes out. Hey, Victor. Suffering to the conquer. Ironic, now that I was the one suffering. How you doing, Amanda? It is wide. Hope me, people. I'd love to be able to do like the Corey Burton, Count Dooku voice. Corey Burton's Christopher Lee impersonation. Like not actually Christopher Lee, but Corey Burton's impression of Christopher Lee, because it's a really good deep baritone. And I say it's Corey Burton's Christopher Lee rather than like Corey Burton's Count Dooku, because Christopher Lee played Diz in Kingdom Hearts. And when Christopher Lee was not available to reprise his role, they just got Corey Burton back in and he did his Count Dooku voice, because that's Christopher Lee. Good voice. Love to be able to do that. Savage Press. So, anyway, we're aiming to finish Blood Omen today, and if we have time, we'll start another game. So we left off, we had been transported back to the past. 50 years to the time of King William the Just, before he became the tyrant known as the Nemesis. Or as we like to call him on this stream, Nemi-chan. Gallon of milkshake, a long cuddle, and some scran. Scran! Yeah, okay. Let's go murder people before they commit the crimes that they're destined to commit. And then have the deep philosophical discussion about whether or not it's okay to, like, judge people for crimes they have not yet committed. Which, Minority Report is an interesting movie, and it raises that as an interesting question that it never really gives you an answer to, or considers worth discussing. They bring it up like once or twice, and then the rest of the movie is like, yeah, fuck you, I'm the main character, and none of this applies to me. Yeah, I can roll my arse. I learned to do it for dumb reasons. As with most things I do. I can do my Robotnik stuff now. Evil Robotnik. Gentlemen. Give me your blood. Which I can roll my arse. Yeah, but you can roll your arse. So like that's probably just as it's probably just as good. I genuinely love this Chaos Armor. It's become my favorite armor. Whistling with your fingers is all about the very specific positions and pressure you blow with. The specific position of your fingers and the pressure you blow with. You know, like cunnilingus. This is a big dungeon. Help me, kind sir. That's what I said. I know what I said, and I meant what I said. Ooh, a blood vial. Is that all the blood vials? Can't be all the blood vials. I'm sure I missed something. Max level. Is there more than enough? It's so much fun. I do recall hearing the big praise for Revelations 2 was basically all right. But I didn't finish Revelations 2, so... What I should do at some point, possibly like post RE6, is do... Like, if you want to unlock all the stages, you do, Clem. Like, probably post RE6 is do the, like, maybe a full stream of just playing RE6 Mercenaries. How the hell do I even get into that section? I should check if I have... I don't think I have RE6 downloaded to my Steam Deck. And that feels like an easy way to just beat a bunch of it on PC. I have no idea where I am. Well, I could just play it on PC. My favorite thing about these legions of the Nemesis is that they're human. Because it means that I can actually get food. Not starving anymore. Yeah, I've never really spent much time on RE6 Mercenaries. I played it like once or twice. It's not even because I dislike RE6. Based on RE6's controls, it feels like the best game for Mercenaries. Oh, goodness. But I never really spent much time on RE5's Mercenaries either. I just wasn't as into the concept by that point. I spent some time on RE4's Mercenaries, but not a huge amount. That looks like probably what I want. Okay, so we need something to open this door.
Yes, these weapons you have provided will see to that. Pray tell, Mobius, what game do you play?
None, my lord. I only wish to aid you in vanquishing your foes. The weapons are but a token of my goodwill.
And the news you bring, a vampire said to slay me? Where did you come upon such knowledge?
It is of no consequence, sire. It was only out of concern for your majesty's life.
Perhaps. Very well, then. You may leave me now, but should I wish to speak to you...
I will know, your majesty, and I shall be there in time.
And there it is, the revelation that the Oracle of Nosgoth is Mobius the Time Streamer. And that he's playing some sort of interesting game here, 50 years in the past. Having provided King William the Just with the information that a vampire is seeking to assassinate him, which is knowledge that nobody should have, considering I myself wasn't aware of it until like 5 minutes ago. How you doing, Zeke? And that he's provided young King William the Just with some strange tools. Is he out for plasma? His name's Mobius, not Morbius, the Time Streamer. Zma. Yeah, that one little scene there gives us the revelation that the Oracle of Nosgoth is Mobius the Time Streamer, and Mobius the Time Streamer is doing some weird, unknowable shit right now. And we should probably be very aware of him. And it's his machinations that are going to lead us to where we are. How you doing, Teak? But yeah, it sets Mobius up as like a surprisingly dangerous foe. Presumably, his role as the Guardian of the Pillar of Time is why he knows that we're here to kill. Young King William the Just. Bit of work? Nice. But it really is an interesting consideration, I think. Suggesting that either he himself has time travelled, or he's aware of our having time travelled in this time period. Map of Nosgoth, which is interesting. These 4 swords are in interesting positions as well. Because this would be where the Pillars of Nosgoth are. This would be Willendorf. And then these 2... Oh, I don't have the magic for it. These 2 would be the base of the Land of the Nemesis, the bottom section of it. Yeah, the Pillars of Nosgoth, Willendorf. The Village of Scholars, perhaps? And maybe Avernus? Hmm. Curious. Very, very curious. There's definitely stuff we can get into in later games in the series, but there's an implication later on that Mobius isn't really affected by the madness that the Raptors spread throughout the circle.
Ah, yes, the vampire. Mobius told me you would come.
You might recognize from that noise that what he's wielding is the Soul Reaver.
Flame sword. The Soul Reaver.
You might also be thankful as he continues to swing the Soul Reaver that I've not really been using the Soul Reaver in this playthrough because
Flame sword.
fucking noise. Yeah, you might be grateful that I haven't been using the Soul Reaver.
The Heart of Darkness.
Does that much damage?
The Heart of Darkness.
So I think you can kill William with another weapon, but canonically Kain wields the Soul Reaver here against his Soul Reaver.
The Heart of
I get better.
Darkness.
How many Hearts of Darkness do I have? 13 more.
As his guards rushed to save him, William the Just's blood was already renewing my strength, replacing the life his sword had stolen from my veins. The poor fools, come to aid their fallen leader. Let us have some amusement.
No, he fell down before I could drink his blood. I didn't drink anything out. Yeah, it's a curiosity this game doesn't really go into, but also here's a point worth noting for later in the series. His Soul Reaver is broken now. But yeah, that's one of the tools that Mobius provided for William the Just. The Soul Reaver.
A time streaming device. Strange. When coincidence seems too convenient, I prefer to call it fate.
And so we return to the future. And the castle of William the Just seems to have fallen into disrepair.
With William the Just dead, Mobius's plans have been thwarted. His pawn was removed from the game.
So Mobius presumably set William up to try and kill us, which is why he gave him the Soul Reaver, to defend himself. So that with us gone, there wouldn't be someone chasing the members of the Circle, and Mobius would be safe. But with William dead, that's not the case. So let's go kill Mobius and continue our quest. Oh, there's a magic refill area around. Guys are draining on magic with their hits. Yeah, it's actually really awkward. They're not hurting me, they're just draining my magic. Who are these guys with their torches? And I think hoods? I think they're wearing hoods, I don't think that's hair. Appreciate the refill, though. Oh, we can go out this way now. Awesome. So, Clem, I have a question for you. And it kind of relates to this. Like, say you went back in time and you murdered somebody who would become like, the worst tyrant the world has ever known before he ever had a chance to commit any of the atrocities that would make him the worst tyrant the world has ever known. What would be the result of that person's effect on history? On this sort of thing, yeah? Ah, now we're here. Someone else would just step in out of place. Imagine somebody doesn't. Imagine this is, like, say, a feudal period in history with monarchies and such and the like, where a single, like, the death of a monarch just leads to another monarch taking their place. Or leads to the collapse of the monarchy. And so you've done it for altruistic reasons. The monarch would become a monster. But the monarch never had the chance to become a monster now. And then say you went back to the present with the knowledge that you had done this thing, and this thing was undeniably good. But nobody else knows that that thing was good. Need this door open. I mean, it's always going to be a moral debate. Like, oh yeah, go back in time and kill Hitler as a baby. Like, you're still killing a baby. A baby that has yet to do anything wrong. That's right, now you're just the guy who killed some king. Yeah, but Hitler, baby. Yeah, so here's the cherry on top of that idea, Teak. Alright? Say the person who like the king who becomes this tyrant because of manipulation by someone else. If left to their own devices, they would have either died young or grown old, but like relatively loved. Where is the fucking switch for this thing? So you remove the symptom but not the cause. But the cause was very specifically a single thing. That's not right. Sure, this is the way I'm supposed to go. So I'm really using this line of questioning as a jumping off point to where we're going to move into with our next story beat. If we can get there. How do I open this door? Clem, you refused to buy Final Fantasy XII while it was on sale. Absolutely judging you for that. Disappointed me on you've disappointed me greatly. It's still on sale. Excellent. You still have time to buy it. How do I open this door? Oh, EA's Battlefront 2. If you like multiplayer shooters, which I don't, but like I like Star Wars, it's fine. Fine enough. If you like multiplayer shooters, you'll probably enjoy it more than I did. I've put a reasonable amount of time into it on PC and PS4, but I bought it on PC and I play it on PC. 17.5 hours on PC, it's not bad. This walkthrough calls Avernus Abernus. Yeah. So everything I can find for these walkthroughs says that I don't even need to open this door. So let's just go back. I don't even know what this door's for. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop wasting your time. We're going to get back to the point of our entire argument. And get out of here. I think now that you have the ability to emulate PS1 games, buying FF8 Remastered isn't all that worth it. But that is entirely up to you, honestly. You know my opinions, I don't need to restate them. In one place. I get that. I absolutely get that. Why I've bought so many games multiple times. What does this lead? It's only $8, I won't miss it. You'll miss it the next time you want an ice cream sandwich. Oh, he's dead, Flame. Welcome back. We're discussing the moral and ethical implications of traveling back in time to kill somebody that you know will become a monster before they become a monster, and what the end result of that will be to the population at large. But yeah, I absolutely get that, Clem. It's why I own so many games on multiple platforms. Because the dream is just to have everything in one place. It has genuinely been the best thing about getting a gaming PC. Specifically for gaming. Oh, we also got the reveal that the Oracle of Nosgoth is Mobius the Time Streamer. Flame, we've been to Avernus, of course we do. I'm not getting out that way. But I didn't get in that way either, so... Yeah, so here's something for you to consider, Flame, which is a thought that I came up with. The implication that Mobius isn't actually affected by Napraptor's madness. Which is an idea that only really has merit based on the sequels. Oh, it's a full moon as well. Alright? I can see how that would work as well, yeah. Certainly. Which is something to discuss at the end of this game, in fact. Like, we won't even have to wait for sequels to justify that. The game's just giving me Hearts of Darkness. It's 90 million Hearts of Darkness.
I found myself once more in the Nosgoth I knew. The carnage from battle was gone. Yet there was something amiss. From the distance, I heard cries, and a breeze from the south carried with it the faint odor of vampire blood.
Oh, this is just junk. If these guys hit me, they're going to cost me magic anyway, so I might as well shield up for it. It's interesting that the statue was finished. William, even as William the Just, his armor was clearly evil. And the statue has fallen.
Twould seem the folly fell upon my own shoulders. With their sainted King William dead by my hand, the people of the land were consumed by a hunger all their own, for vampire blood.
So there we have the rub, the twist. The true deception. Mobius set us up. And the answer to the question that I was asking, when you go back in time to kill somebody before they become a monster at a time when they are perceived as good, as like true good, you're the one perceived as the monster. Reasons have nothing to do with it. You're the one who ends up being perceived as the monster. And you're the one that has to deal with that. And the response here has been, a vampire murdered our beloved king. So we should kill all the vampires.
As I wandered about more, the shrieking and cheering became more apparent and defined. There was some sort of gathering to the south, for with each cheer, I smelled an outpour of blood.
And it takes us back to the question Kain asked of Ariel. What can one man, even a vampire, do against an army? Which was the entire reason why we saved King Otmar's daughter and got him to raise his army against the army of the Nemesis. Because alone, we couldn't do anything. It's too much even for a vampire.
I make no pretense to justify my killing, yet these vampire hunters would cloak their bloodlust beneath a veil of righteousness. Hypocrites! They would make themselves judge and jury. Very well then. Let us see how they take to my role as executioner.
I mean, we can dive into that conclusion now. Because Vorador's conclusion is that interfering in the affairs of humans can lead to no good. It's the conclusion he gives Kain in this game. And Kain doesn't listen to that, which is what causes a lot of Kain's problems. But the unspoken argument at that point is that Kain's being manipulated from the first step. From the moment he's reborn as a vampire, Kain has been manipulated. To kill his assassins, to seek the pillars, to restore the pillars. Even Ariel has been manipulating. Though her intentions aren't actually malicious. The entire point of it has been restore the pillars and you will have your cure. Though she does make it clear at the beginning the only cure for death is release. Kain seeks a cure for vampirism. Ariel tells him, like, you're dead. The only cure for that is to stay dead. But in his blind, vain attempts to try and remove that curse, he's allowed himself to be manipulated into restoring the pillars, which is why we're at this point now. From step one, manipulated into this path.
We are free of this unholy scourge!
Not yet, my friend. Would you be free of the plague if only one city was cleansed? No! No! Would you spare one wolf in the pack that has devastated your herd? No! Then let us destroy them all! Yes! He is the last! Destroy him!
Yeah, Mobius used this now to essentially build up a crusade against vampires. And we come back to a time when we are the last vampire now. They've just executed Vorador. It's just us left. Yeah, Ariel's manipulation is out of ignorance, but it's, like I say, it's not malicious. She's trying to talk Kain, manipulate Kain into doing what she thinks is best for the land, which is the restoration of the pillars, which is true. The problem is Mobius's machinations against vampires and Kain specifically lead to the restoration of the pillars being not altogether a good idea. But that's the point that comes up in Soul Reaver 2 in Defiance. Just wanted a martyr to win, cause the end of the previous crusade.
The people will not rest until Nosgoth is purged of your kind.
I had been betrayed. In my haste, I had not realized it before. That sigil on his forehead, the Oracle of Nosgoth, was in fact the time streamer Mobius, and I had followed his advice. How much of my quest was of his design? Willendorf? The Battle of the Last Stand? William the Just? Was this the trap he had fashioned for me?
We will send you back to the grave, whence you came, vampire.
And that brings up a fair point as well. Mobius was the one who directed us to Vorador, who then, and also directed us to Willendorf to convince King Otmar to raise the army of the Last Hope against Nemesis, to drive us into the corner that would send us back in time to kill William the Just. From the moment we first met, Mobius was manipulating us.
I have seen the future, Kain. You are not in it. Let us call upon the puppets from the past.
I got a load of these.
From the present.
And so the whole thing becomes kind of an interesting question. I think of, like, how far Mobius's machinations went, how much any of it was pre-planned. I can't hit him. I think it's an interesting conclusion, this whole thing. Because you can see where we were coming from. And once you're... It's one of those plot twists that's a good plot twist because it makes sense. You can see the strings that were being pulled when you go back and rewatch or replay the game. Which is how all the best plot twists work.
And from ages yet to come. Bay Victor!
Alright, Mobius, you cheeky dick waffle.
Ironic. By going back in time and altering the past, you turned William the Just into the Nemesis. Aye, you have seen my plan, vampire, as I've seen your destiny. The future says you die. But I am dead. As are you.
Defiance recontextualizes that line in a really neat way.
I knew that Mobius's hourglass was the focus of his time-streaming magic. Farewell, sorcerer. The sands of time have ceased to flow for you.
Well done, Kain. Mobius did so love playing the trickster's part. His guise as the Oracle served his schemes well. Pity with all his plots he failed to plan for you. Come to me, my undead son. Make haste to the pillars. The stage is set for the grand finale. You will have your vengeance.
Actually locks his head. Look to the stream, Error's rules. I don't know, I feel like Kain and Raziel are both like really well written and defined. To the point where like they're both really good. Raziel's design's probably cooler overall. I feel like that in itself is disrespect seek. Like refusing to do any of that. The teleport pads are gone. And there are 3 pillars left to restore. It will not let me leave. So I hope I have enough Hearts of Darkness for this.
You betrayed us, Mortanius. You had Kain killed and turned him into a monster. You set him upon us.
It had to be. Napraptor's insanity poisoned all of our minds. The Circle had failed in its sworn duties. It had to be destroyed.
Failed our duties? Idiot!
States.
The Circle exists for us. We don't exist for it. Our powers will save or damn Nosgoth at our whim. Stand with us, Mortanius, or die.
Then I shall die.
That was kind of
The
brutal.
circle is to be destroyed. You have to die as well, Necromancer. I admire your cunning, but you will not escape your fate.
Nay, I will embrace it. But my death will leave one more to take, Princeling. Finish me!
So there we have the revelation that Mortanius ordered our assassination at the beginning. Still won't let me just leave. I have neither the health nor the magic for this. I'm betraying us. finally over. Oh no, he's just over there. Like a dick. It's finally over.
You thought yourself a king, when in fact you were a pawn. You have served me well, Kain.
I serve no one.
Indeed, such narrow vision. Don't you see? My silencing of Ariel and its calculated repercussions is but the first act in my theater of grand guignol, of which you are the tragic hero. Play on, little vampire. Play on.
Fay Victus!
That's probably better. So, go over that real quickly. So, Mortanius is the one that killed Ariel at the beginning. Yeah, Kain says Ve Victus. It's his catchphrase. So, Mortanius is the one that killed Ariel. This game doesn't make it clear, but I don't think it was a retcon. This isn't actually Mortanius. Mortanius is being possessed. Yeah, so like I said, I feel like it is a thing that exists in this game, not a retcon in later games. That Mortanius being possessed. It's what Ariel means when she says, "Beware the unspoken."
Anacroth's magic was contained within the metal of the scales and would eventually be released back into the pillar from whence it came. The scales of Anacroth I lay before the Pillar of States. The pillar accepted its offering. The Heart of Darkness. The death orb of Mortanius had given the necromancer dominion over the grave. I had thought him the last of the circle, and yet he spoke of another.
The Pillar of Balance. So that itself there is very important. Mortanius's death orb has restored the Pillar of Death. But we start to fight this monster, which is the implication that this isn't Mortanius. Because with Mortanius, with the Pillar of Death being restored, Mortanius should be dead. And so with this monster existing coming out of Mortanius, it's not Mortanius. What it is elaborated on in later games. But for now, we just refer to it as the Unspoken.
Before the Pillar of Death, I lay the orb of Mortanius. The pillar accepted its offering. Thus, it was restored.
Fay Victus! Fay Victus!
Spoken of not.
Fay Victus! Fay Victus!
Is the game audio generally genuinely too low to really hear the voices though? I've been deliberately quiet while they've been speaking so you guys can hear This is where we use all the player discs. Not a bad idea, actually. Did very well so far. Excellent.
The Heart of Darkness.
I don't have infinite hearts of darkness. Yeah, yeah. Hey, Victus. Suffering to the conquered.
I am the last pillar, the only survivor of the Circle of Nine. At my whim, the world will be healed or damned. At my whim.
Kind of forget about it because of how used to the knowledge we are that Kain is the guardian of the Pillar of Balance, but it comes out of nowhere. So yeah, Kain is the final guardian, the guardian of the Pillar of Balance, born when Mortanius murdered Ariel, and unfortunately for Kain, also corrupted by Napraptor's madness. Napraptor sent his shockwave of insanity throughout all the Guardians of the Pillars. Kain was damned from the moment he was born. It's interesting that they give you that save point, which can only possibly have one purpose. Choose both endings. So, what we have here is, in this ending, we sacrifice ourselves to restore the Pillar of Balance, the final pillar, and restore Nosgoth to balance. But in doing so, we kill ourselves, and thus the final vampire. There will be no more vampires in Nosgoth, which is supposed to be like a sad thing, which is only a sad thing, the wrong thing, because later games added retcons to it. In the context of this game, killing the last vampire isn't a bad thing. Here we say fuck it. A bit of Ariel manipulating him as well. She knew from the moment she met Kain that he was the guardian of the Pillar of Balance. She manipulated him into his quest to restore the pillars, knowing that the final choice would be that he had to kill himself. But again, it is also something that Ariel was pretty clear on from the beginning. Like, I seek only a cure. There is no cure for death, vampire, only release. Ariel made it clear from the beginning that Kain's end would be death. But yeah, Mobius's machinations pushes into this endpoint where the choice is no more vampires or damnation.
In his life, he was unknown, a petty noble. In death, he was unknown. Yet by choosing oblivion, he restored balance to the land. Shades cast no shadows.
And there's your ending. Prestige Princess. That's the non-canon ending, though. Well, he's not specifically known as the specific vampire who struck down William. Just a vampire. So that's the non-canon ending. The canon ending is that Kain says, fuck it.
Once I embraced my powers, I realized that Vorador was correct. We are gods. Dark gods. And it is our duty to thin the herd.
Both endings are kind of garbage, though. So, Soul Reaver picks up maybe 1500 years after this, where Kain chose to damn the land and became the ruler of the land. Raising 6 sons. 6 bodies that he found and raised into vampires, and ruling his empire. No, we went over this earlier in the playthrough. Soul Reaver states that Raziel has ruled alongside Kain for a millennium. Soul Reaver itself takes place like maybe 1500 years after, suggesting that Kain raises his new empire. The specific time point of it is unclear, but like Kain goes from this, eventually raises the 6 bodies into vampires who would become his sons in his new empire, and
You are lost beyond all hope. You cannot see my plight, for you have so shut your eyes. What will become of
oh hey, it was Volgin, Neil Ross. And then like Raziel serves him for a millennium, and then Raziel is cast into the abyss and comes out 500 years later. So like the exact amount of time is mostly known. The only question is how much time after Blood Omen Kain raises the vampires who become his sons, his offspring. Yeah, you heard that too, right? I don't know what that was. Yeah. Yeah, that's Blood Omen. Both endings are trash. Genuinely trash. Uh, Following Blood Omen, because we've got a bunch of time here. We've not even gone for like 2 hop off the disc and start Soul Reaver. Bold. So we got a bunch of time before we can just move on to the next thing, because we've only taken like less than an hour and a half. Following this, Silicon Knights had a project they were working on referred to as Kain 2. And Crystal Dynamics were also after doing a Legacy of Kain sequel, but without Silicon Knights. Court case arrives to determine who actually owns the Legacy of Kain IP. Court eventually rules in favor of Crystal Dynamics. And the whole thing becomes a whole hodgepodge mess. The big thing to take away from this is, without Crystal Dynamics taking the series with Soul Reaver and moving up into Soul Reaver 2, Blood Omen 2, Defiance, this game itself would probably be largely forgotten.
There is a magical operation of maximum importance. The initiation
and a lot of the stuff that we love the series for comes from Crystal Dynamics' work on it. Silicon Knights started it, Crystal Dynamics continued it.
Bathed in blood.
2 Human, which jumped across 3 generations during its development. Originally going to be a PlayStation game, then a GameCube game, then eventually an Xbox 360 game. I will say I would not be against the idea of some point of going through Silicon Knights' history. Because most of it is, at the very least, passable games until you hit 2 Human. But yeah, you're definitely right with that, Clem. Soul Reaver, a lot of it looks the same. It was very technically ambitious and impressive at the time, but like, it's aged really poorly. I think it's probably aged the worst of all the Legacy of Kain games. Because ultimately it's a lot of running around empty environments that look look mostly the same. And occasionally you'll do some combat that isn't great.
Fulfilling the circle, mallet of the Sarafan, you are hereby damned.
Actually, seeing this scene reminds me, I was hoping to find it, but we never ended up finding it in Avernus Cathedral. The book you can read that speaks of the cult of Hashak Gik.
Damned warrior, you will serve us for eternity.
Yeah, most of Soul Reaver is like grey rock. See, if you pay attention here, you can tell from the shadow that it's Mortanius that killed Ariel. X-Men Mutant Academy, he says. Yeah, Blood Omen. It's an interesting game. It's an enjoyable enough game. Probably aged the best of the series. It's great that you can buy it on modern systems again, now that it's available on GOG for PC. 7 out of 10. Oh, you're wrong there, Teak. 9 pillars. hangs on these really cool marble pieces that just stretch into the sky for some reason. Like, they don't bother explaining... They don't explain what the Pillars of Nosgoth are in this game. And they don't get to a point... Exacting number of pillars is inconsequential to the greater point. Is it, though? What are they holding up in that positioning? Like, they don't get around to explaining what the Pillars of Nosgoth are even for. Until
there is a magical
Defiance,
operation of
I think.
maximum importance. The initiation of a new aeon. When it becomes necessary to utter a word,
The Pillar of White People
the
Taco Night.
whole planet must be bathed in
Anyway,
blood.
what we're going to do is we're going to BRB real quick. But not before I swap this out right now. Yeah, very briefly. Very briefly. Don't give a proper idea of it. Even then, like, what the pillars are supposed to mean to the universe as a whole is never properly stated or explained. There we go. BBBQ. The extra B stands for B. BBBQ. The extra B stands for BYOBB. What does that extra B stand for? That's a typo.
Call your dogs. They can feast on your corpses.
Well, it's a slight spoiler warning, but like all of you will forget by the time we get to Soul Reaver 2. But one of the reveals of Soul Reaver 2 is that Malik is elsewhere confronting Raziel at that exact moment, and he's deliberately withholding Malik, and it's why Malik is late getting to the fight.
You have but one purpose, damned warrior. You will serve us for eternity.
Anyway, so yeah, let's BRB, and we'll jump into our next game. Anyway, this BRB is going to be like genuinely really short. So we'll be right back with game number 12.